Hey everyone, my name is Chris Reed and I will be presenting the Group 2 presentation for our consumer behavior case study on Simple Mobile. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick introduction into who Simple Mobile is. Simple Mobile is part of the TracFone Wireless Inc. family of brands operating in Doral, Florida. And Simple Mobile and other TracFone brands operate as what we call multi-virtual network operator. And a multi-virtual network operator, or MVNO for short, is simply a cell phone carrier that uses the network or towers of the big four wireless carriers like Sprint, AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. In this case, Simple Mobile uses the network of T-Mobile to deliver talk, text, and data to customers. Prepaid versus postpaid. So prepaid means that as a consumer, I'm going to prepay for all of my service up front. Postpaid is like the big four, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and Sprint. You pay for the service that you used in the month before. Some of the top MVNO companies, Mint Mobile, which uses the T-Mobile network, Boost, which is owned by Sprint, Metro, which is owned by T-Mobile, and Cricket Wireless, which is owned by AT&T. So some of the product attributes in the wireless category and specifically in the prepaid category that we felt were important to take a look at across Simple Mobile and the other brands are nationwide coverage, no annual contract or pay-as-you-go, unlimited plans, which would include unlimited talk, text, and data, wide variety of devices or product assortment, and free phones promotional offers. So a lot of wireless carriers today are offering really sweet deals. We'll give you a free phone, and oh, by the way, all you have to do is stay signed up with us for 1 year and you can keep your phone. So up front, it seems like a really sweet deal, but it's not always the case. So in talking about our methodology and how we arrived at our data, so pretty basic. We drafted the survey containing the total of 30 questions. Our respondents were asked to answer based on a scale of 1 through 5, 1 being not important at all, and number 5 being very important. And we took our initial survey that we crafted, and we took the feedback from our peers, and we created a new survey based on that feedback. We then took that survey and administered to 50 subjects, and then began the process of collecting and compiling our data so that we could arrive at the ATO analysis. So the ratings versus importance. So for the important attributes, we have on the left-hand side the importance rating of each of these attributes in this column. And what really stands out here is that free phones, which we really thought would be an important attribute, fell second to last. And then, of course, nationwide coverage was the most important attribute at 3.8. For our ATO analysis, or the attitude toward object, again, we can see the ATO scores in the columns for each of the brands, or looking across at the product attributes. Again, what really jumps out is the free phone fell at the bottom of the pack for the ATO analysis. And then overall, Metro and Boost Mobile both scored the highest. And what we take away from this data point is that Metro and Boost, both having the backing of T-Mobile and Sprint respectively, have a lot of media power behind them and do a really good job of their media presence, both in the digital space and on television. So both of these brands are leading the pack, and then what was really surprising is that Cricket Wireless fell very last, and Cricket, of course, is owned by AT&T. Simple Mobile was third, with a little bit of work to do that we'll talk about a little bit later. The brand differential rating, it's just a really great way to take a look at the importance ratings and the attributes. So, for example, in this case, nationwide coverage scored a 3.8 overall rating, but when we look at the differential, we can get a really good quick snapshot of the baseline. So the Simple Mobile fell within the baseline in this case, and then on the opposite end of the spectrum for nationwide coverage, Cricket fell below at 0.3 differential rating. So again, just a really quick and easy way to get a snapshot of how the product attributes are performing by brand. And then as we look at our perceptual maps, on our first perceptual map, we take a look at unlimited data. So at the top, we have nationwide coverage. At the bottom, limited coverage down here, fixed data versus unlimited plans. And one of the things that jumps out immediately is that Metro and Boost are both leading the pack when it comes to the brand perception for nationwide coverage and unlimited plans. So in other words, consumers are really the product attributes for nationwide coverage and unlimited plans resonate really well for Metro and Boost Mobile. For the second perceptual map, we took a look at free phone offers, free phone versus no free phone, limited assortment versus wide variety. And Simple Mobile actually did pretty well in this in the assortment category. However, again, as we discussed earlier, all of the brands really fell below on the free phone promo, this product attribute not being as important for consumers. For perceptual map number 3, we took a look at no contract, or what we call pay-as-you-go or pay-go, nationwide coverage at the top, limited coverage, contract versus no contract. And again, surprisingly, no contract, not as important as you would imagine. It was the lowest scoring product attribute out of all the attributes. But again, nationwide coverage, extremely important for consumers, as you can see by the data cluster here. And as we mentioned before, Cricket is not faring well at all for brand perception. Some of our key findings, as we discussed, Simple Mobile is a really good, strong brand, but there's a lot of room for improvement. The ATO range we looked at before is between 53 and approximately 61. And Simple Mobile's ATO was just ahead of Mint and Cricket, but below Metro and Boost. Nationwide coverage was the most important attribute, and no contract was the least important attribute. So what does all this tell us? What do our key findings tell us? Well, it tells us that Simple Mobile has some work to do in order to differentiate itself in the marketplace against Metro and Boost. So in the next few minutes, we'll talk about some recommendations. And one of those recommendations is that one of the attributes that we found that we thought was important that wasn't as important, we should remove that attribute, which is the free phones offer, and replace it with the importance of a well-known brand. And in order to achieve this, it's our recommendation that we take Simple Mobile and co-brand it with TracFone. And the reason that we should do this is because TracFone is America's #1 prepaid wireless company. Not only is TracFone the #1 prepaid wireless company, but it's also the #5 largest wireless company overall in the United States. So the brand Simple Mobile would become Simple Mobile by TracFone in all distinguishable logo areas. So in other words, we would co-brand the Simple Mobile logo with the TracFone logo in order to really help that resonate with the consumer base. Some other recommendations that we have, we recommend that we focus business goals on the BYOP model or bring your own phone. The company should invest in future technologies such as the eSIM technology, which researchers estimate that within 5 to 10 years, eSIM technology will take over, and there will no longer be removable SIMs in devices. And then, of course, as we already mentioned, we need to pivot, and we could pivot to a new attribute, and one of those new attributes could be the focusing on the ease of product activation and keeping your phone. So in a perfect world, if Simple Mobile were to do the things that team number 2 recommends to do, if we were looking at a future state of the brand, we would come back after implementing the recommendations, which would be the co-brand, focusing on the keep your own phone model or bring your own phone model, the future technologies, and ease of activation. This is how we could imagine Simple Mobile faring in a brand perception map. So in the other brand perception maps, if you remember, Simple Mobile consistently fell in this area of the quadrant. Now, future state, we surmise that Simple Mobile would carry a higher brand reputation as a much more well-known brand and surpass the other players in the prepaid wireless or multi-virtual network operator space. So that's our presentation. We hope you enjoy it. We hope that you gain some valuable learnings, and we look forward to your feedback, comments, and questions. Thank you very much, and have a great evening.